Derek ready as well, yeah?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, then right, and we'll start the record now. So we're recording now anyway, yeah, okay, so I'll record. So we're recording so it's just myself, Anthony, and I do believe we've, should we say the name of it? It's okay to his name?
Yeah, we got Tarek on the...
We've got Tarek on the line as well,
on the
just
audio.
to update and catch up on everything that, what's up to date so far with what I've been doing, and obviously Anthony's, you've been inundated.
Yeah, you've been working hard on this John Patterson upcoming situation.
Yep.
And we're waiting with bated breath on that one. And we have a little update on George Carter, which we're calling London George, another little small, well, it's a big win if you're the victim.
Yeah.
And Tarek got a little tip on the computer with privacy, how to get a bit of privacy on your computer without spending any money. So yeah, what's been happening? You've been on Sean Maguire's show last night. Is it last night or Wednesday night?
I was on Sean's on Wednesday night, yeah, because I did I said I'd do a 10-day countdown to John Patterson's this counterfeit court case that's going to be happening on the 26th of April at Guildford Crown Court. So I said I'd do a 10-day countdown basically to shine the light on it, because John's beaten down and he's been poisoned. So John's needs as much help and support and eyes on the bad guys that what they're doing, just to let them know that we know exactly what they're doing and we can see exactly what they're doing.
Interesting, because we got Tarek on the line and he's got his case, I believe. One of your cases, Tarek, in the Guildford County Court or Crown Court? Staines Magistrate. But something was in something. Oh, my Bluetooth has gone.
Occasionally the sound.
Can you hear him okay? Can you hear him okay?
What
I can hear the phone okay anyway. So you can just
I think we should let me pause. So Tarek, you were in which you had something in the Guildford court, county court or crown court?
Well, it's coming actually. It's been delayed till June.
Right.
Because of the pending investigations. Well, obviously we had one of them, which was the false harassment and stalking charge of a client who met off the legal security by way of the legal group, and in fact it was a stand-up ex-group.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. What?
Investigation there, not a delay, but pending investigation because of the amount of investigating material I gave the police. They deemed it, we need more time than 2 weeks.
Yeah, but Tarek, the investigation is one thing, but have you had the prosecution that they filed in the court to commence the proceedings?
There is zero prosecution.
Right, okay. So that's all I'm interested in. I don't care what you did with the girl or what the girl did to you. That's between your private life. But if the police, if they said they prosecute you, then they must show you the prosecution. Yeah.
Oh, there is zero prosecution.
Right.
They haven't shown me anything. They haven't even shown me the
Okay. So now we have the same court with John Patterson. Yeah, Andy.
And that's Guildford Crown, yeah.
Guildford Crown.
Guildford and Staines. Basically, what's happening is the Staines and Guildford magistrates are now as one. It's the same warrant manager for both courts.
Right. Andy's got a photograph of the building here with the.
Do you reckon it's got anything to do with Freemasonry? I don't know. It's just looking. Just thought I'd show that one.
They got the unicorn and the symbolism and all that going on.
Well, I also got an update regarding my cars that were stolen. So my new car, which was a Peugeot 807, the
right,
carrier, which is the problem of this other girl that made the false allegations. Well, it was registered in my name, but I didn't receive any paperwork. And then out of the blue, I received an email. Okay, from a Lionel Machine. Now, this is Metropolitan Police.
Yeah.
Now, they said in relation to the above crime report, because when I reported it stolen, which it was, So we've got 2.5, 3 months have passed and I have nothing. So it means the car's stolen. And then out of the blue, my insurance company managed, because they were about to pay out the claim because of the theft of the car. So they needed to do one final check, which was to just speak to Metropolitan Police to find out that they placed my car on the register regarding stolen cars.
Yeah.
So when you do an HPI check, it will come back. So they went to do this check, and then they said, we have found that your car has been impounded at Perryvale Impound on Warngate Road, UB6. Now, let me read the email and what they're saying, because it's unbelievable. It says here, good afternoon. In relation to the vehicle has been removed to Perryvale Metropolitan Town.
And they want you to stop. Can you stop for a minute? Stop for a minute.
Anthony, I think I take it off the Bluetooth, mate.
Is it? It was better on the phone.
Hopefully, it's struggled to hear. So I think it's going to come clearer on the phone because it's a tin ear. It's more high pitch.
There we go. The phone has got some super speakers anyway. So yeah, carry on. Yeah, here we go. Carry on. Carry on, Tariq.
The content of the email is draft. The contact number is 0207-161-0944. The details of the theft of the vehicle are unclear, but police saw the vehicle and the occupant ran away. Can you believe it? He ran away allegedly.
Right.
On citing police. The vehicle at the time had not been reported stolen, so the attending officers believed the occupant had a key and there was no damage to the vehicle. Believed that the occupant had no insurance or a driving license. The vehicle was removed to the car pound. This report will be closed as there are no realistic leads to follow relating to this report, and there is no forensics, no known suspects, no CCTV or evidence to help identify the suspect. Kindly regards. Brilliant. So they removed the car. So they didn't stop the suspect if they felt the car was stolen, but they just removed it. When they had insurance, tax, and MOT, they just removed it. Why did they need to remove a car?
So they see someone running away, and they said, "We believe." So we're gonna take the car.
Exactly.
And when you inquired with the police if they took the car, not only the car, Tariq, but you had your legal documents and your computers in there.
Yes, phone, laptop, keys, everything in my life. I was in standstill. I couldn't move.
But you made inquiries with the police about your car, didn't you?
Oh, I reported it immediately. About 3 hours later, when I went back to the car.
And they took how long to tell you that they got the car?
3 months.
3 months. So what do you feel is the what's going on? You see someone, you believe they have no insurance, you believe, you take the car. Then when the person make a report or inquiry, you don't disclose. And then when you're claiming on your insurance, you're about to be paid out, which would be put them in a very awkward position. All of a sudden they found your car.
My insurance investigated.
Oh, the insurance fund.
Yeah, my insurance. I left it with them. I gave them the crime number that the police gave me when on reporting the stolen car. At Hammersmith police station. So I got the crime report. That's all I can do. Give it to the insurance, and the rest is down to the insurance.
Fantastic.
They go and carry out all the checks. But everything's fine. They're just waiting on the police. It's very difficult to get hold of Metropolitan Police at the best of times. So they just said once we even have confirmation that they are going to place the car on the stolen register, HPI register, they can then continue with the claim. But on speaking to Metropolitan Police, they said it's an impound. Well, thank you very much. The car is registered in my name. I still haven't received today any paperwork from Metropolitan Police, and it's registered in my name at the address.
Do you think, Tariq, I'm gonna ask you a blunt question. Yeah, you don't have to answer. Do you think the police know it was your car because it's on? They can tell. And do you think they stole your car deliberately and then withhold? Do you withhold the information that they have your car? Do you think it was a form of harassment or abuse or something?
I think so. My name will come up on the system to read Zahid, and the whole of the record will come up. Yes,
Yeah.
it certainly is. And they know what I'm into. They know what I've been doing. They know I was that man that stood up on the walls of Tony Street and delivered jewels and Baron cases. They know I am that man. So yes, of course, they've stolen 4 of my cars, 3 of my cars. This is the 4th car.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And the other news update on my Mercedes, which is stolen from my drive.
Yeah.
Now,
On your private driveway.
yeah, so this is stolen my drive. The police recovered the vehicle. It took them almost 1 week to complete the forensics. And then on completing the forensics, they're now saying to my insurers that yes, the car needs to be taken back, but it cannot be driven because it doesn't have a certain tax, which I then sent them the tax letter. We have tax exemption.
So shouldn't they deliver the car back from where they took it?
Exactly, which is literally 10 minutes. Now, when I reported that stolen, I was given 2 choices on the phone. Now listen to this. This is the criminality of the police, the police in particular. So on reporting my car, I was given 2 options. You can either collect your car for free.
Yeah.
The word free means no cost.
Yeah.
Or you can have it delivered back to your property for a fee. My insurance will take care of that. On completion of the forensics, the police officer then sends a message to say, yes, the forensic has been completed. We have not found any that the car was stolen.
Yeah.
Well, evidently it was stolen, but they're coming back to say we didn't find any forensics to suggest it was stolen. Well, come on, let me just look at this. You noted my car, allegedly.
Yeah.
It was being driven around late at night. Now, we're during lockdown. In my town and village, there is no car on the road. You'll be struggling to find one car in a matter of 4 hours during the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you in the police car, fully loaded, and my car, a 1980s car with hardly any power, you could not find that suspect who stole my car. Unbelievable. So you found it dumped. So yeah, they found it dumped on completion of the forensics, so that it can be released, but it needs to be released on a low loader, and they wanted the storage fees, etc. Which was
They want storage fee. They took your car off your drive. They want. Listen, man. All right, we got the picture with the car. We're gonna crack on because we got some other stuff to cover. But it's amazing. I'm glad you're getting a chance to hear it. Beautiful, beautiful. It shows that, you know, if you put up your and fight, but they should pay your compensation. And I believe the people who are the officers who are doing this and their bosses and the gangsters behind who are controlling the police should face a trial for this. You know, harassment. You're a carer for your mom, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we don't have a car. So each hospital trip.
Yeah.
Each hospital trip.
Yeah.
£30.
And they took Neelu's car as well, the same thing, blah, blah, blah. And they took it to a place. Neelu's son discovered it's a secret place. They got thousands of cars and dealers are just coming and buying them. It's like the police are wheeling and dealing in stolen cars using the authority and the uniform. It's unbelievable. But listen, let's crack on, Andy.
Their car is going to be crushed by this date, but yet they're doing the exact opposite, selling the car.
They're selling it, yeah.
Oh boy,
oh boy. When you got the Commissioner Cressida Dick falsifying warrants and the Attorney General making up false High Court cases, you know, we need some change in this situation, people. It's not a joke. But Andy, over to you.
Right, so yeah, on the exposing the courts again, because I mean exactly what we've done now by filing for the case file view to have a look at the case file to see what information has been laid at the court to have ever done what they've done to John Patterson. So yeah, so we've got information back from Westminster Magistrates Court. We've got it forensic documents, emails. These are all put together, stating that there never was a case number. We had 2 numbers given to him by John Patterson's lawyer, Alan Hobden, who gave a reference number to nobody knows what.
Yeah.
another URN number, which was the CPS.
A reference number. URN numbers, ladies and gentlemen, are not court case numbers. They're a reference number. If you got a court case and it says a URN number, it doesn't have a court case, you've got a fake case. It's not a case. You gotta get your head around this. URN numbers are not court case numbers. They are the criminal court, magistrate court case numbers do not have any letters in them. That's a very good clue. You must send off for your court file to see. There's a lot of false cases going around. I believe, Andy, I think it's fair to say the vast majority of cases we've investigated have come up to be false.
I haven't found a legitimate one yet.
Yeah.
Found a legitimate one yet. For the people out there, as just for the normal Joe blogs, just imagine, you know, a £1 is not a $1. And if you don't understand the difference, try and go and spend $1 in the shop and see if they take it out of you. They'll tell you to jog on. Well, that's basically the same thing. A URN is not a case number. It is the CPS, nothing to do with the court. You know, they're in the court maybe, but they're just the prosecutors. They don't have any authority of the court. Okay?
Do you think we're going to have some kind of PPI or Nuremberg style trial on these matters, Andy, the way it's being exposed now?
It's all down to the people. And if we can do a good enough job to explain it so that the people that have been deceived can actually see what's really going on. And if we can do that, then we break their illusion, their deception. Because what people need to understand, the whole system's rigged. It's one big film. We're in a staged, and it's being controlled by people at the top that are pulling the strings of all these other people, and they're just going along with it to deceive the people, we the people, to steal their children, to steal their houses, to steal everything else. But ultimately, there is a process, and if you see the process for how it should work, then you know if it's not doing that, then there's something wrong, and all you have to do is ask, you know, and they have to produce the material evidence, because he who makes the claim carries the burden of proof. So they're saying it is a court case, so prove that it is a court case. So that's basically what we did. And we asked Westminster Magistrate Court to prove that this was a case that was in your court. And is there a case number? Is there anything that relates to these numbers? Because first of all, they said those were nothing to do with it. Then we said, well, where is this case then? Because John was in your court, allegedly on the 9th of November 2019, where you remanded him. So where was your authority to remand him? What was this case? And basically Westminster Magistrate Court have stated that there isn't nothing. So John Patterson's been held captive since 2019, November the 9th. Actually, one thing that Westminster Magistrates did come back with, which I take it was coming from somebody, i.e. CPS or somebody higher, that had given them information of about John Patterson. So he was found guilty before the case, and it stated in there maximum custodial limit was the 7th of May 2020. So this is the information that they've given us. So this stating that even if it had got done for whatever he was getting done for, the maximum custodial sentence was the 7th of May 2020, and yet he is still being held captive. And this has been another dirty trick, because the prison, I was stating this the other night, when policemen have got a power to put you in front to be sectioned, it's a 135, and the courts are 136. Hospitals also can do this too. I forget the number for that one, and again, the prison can do this to send you into, to be inspected to see if you're mentally stable.
To be assessed by one of their assessors that they pay.
One of their educated assessors, exactly. So John was sent.
One second, Terry. Carry on, John.
So John was sent because his time limit, I take it would have been, they knew it was running out. They couldn't hold him anymore. So the prison where he was at, which had also exposed the governor of that prison, because she'd kept two of the very important documents out of that 100-page document that John was kidnapped from delivering and stopped from delivering to the Ministry of Defence on the 5th of November. The governor had kept it back. But I also, at the same time, just previous to this, I sent in to John the Baron David Ward's affidavit and statement of truth. and stated that they were all now complicit because they had no authority over John. John had never given his consent, and all this was done, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, they chucked him, they got him out of the prison, and they stuck him into a hospital, and then Section 2'd him. And as John told you, that Dr. Mustafa Saud had falsified documents of the assessment and put things in that should never have been there. So John's being held now in Chichester Mental Health Ward by the criminals like who I've just stated, Dr. Mustafa Saud, who's in a part of all this because there was never, again, there has to be a first official thing. Something has to start it. So even though now he's in a mental health ward, it's the prison that started that, and whatever they falsified to create it, you know, these will come.
Was he prosecuted? Was there a legitimate, lawful and valid prosecution issued by the court? That's the magic. And Wood Green Crown Court can't produce, Westminster Magistrate can't. They basically said there isn't. So now, why is he in there another 5 minutes? Your freedom and liberty is the highest lawful thing. And why are they holding him another 5 minutes? You know,
just to go a bit further into this, because I mean, he was also sent to Wood Green. It was also
exactly
Chelmsford Magistrate. It was a few different ones. They kept altering all these things.
Yeah, and we've made requests to all of them, and none of them can produce.
Absolutely.
And sometimes one say, "Oh, we pass it to Wood Green," and another Wood Green say, "Wood Green Crown Court didn't answer at all, did they?"
No.
They just imagine somebody's in jail or mental health on an alleged prosecution, and you write to the court and said, "Can I have a copy of the prosecution, the information which was laid?" And the court just stays silent. Yeah. I mean, is this the world we're living in?
They're allowed to just stay. It's concealment, as you know.
Well, coming on the mental health fraud, Tariq wanted to say, you can carry on, Tariq, to tell us what you were going to say.
Well, just like similar regarding the mental health when I was held at Brixton Police Station when they actually took my car.
Yeah.
This is literally, they must have been waiting for me because I was with a friend doing a radio interview in Brixton. So within 5 minutes, I was stopped by the police. And when they held me at Brixton, they tried to cause mental health on me. And the nurse was just on their side. And the police gave me 3 chances to go through the mental health process. And the game they were playing was quite threatening because you don't know what they would have done.
Yeah. Well, we know what they're doing. We've seen so many people that they made an assessment and said, and the assessment said you're mentally ill. And the people making up the false court proceedings are not subhuman species.
So with mine, the classic was this. They then asked one of the mental health region for my area to come and visit me at my mother's home.
Yeah.
Brilliant, great. They can then see my life and how I care for my mother and my mother being the same.
Yeah.
Cancer. Brilliant, come and see. But on the day that they arranged to visit me, they didn't arrive. They came on a different day. Now I was naturally going to be out.
Yeah.
So they arrived, 2 females. And at this time it was my mother's carer that answered the door. So they actually, as I was not there, and it was a surprise visit, they then questioned, my mother and my mother's carer. And my mother's carer put them straight about my day-to-day activities and how I care for my mother. And from that point, mental health then sent me a letter saying we don't see any issues. We discussed what we needed to do with your mother's carer, and we feel that you do not need to be addressed again through mental health.
So they did a mental health assessment on via the carer.
Exactly. So I was okay with them. They wanted to see me.
Is that Andy?
They were okay with my mother and my mother's carer. They came to see me.
It's unbelievable. These people are so.
Third party, but it was brilliant because it was a result. Because I had that letter to say, well, we don't feel that there is any mental health issues with you. Thank you very much. There wasn't any mental health issues in the first place.
These people are highly paid public officials drawing an insane salary from us and pension funds and holidays. And God knows what gangsters are paying them to frame people up. And I bet you the letter they send you, was it signed? Huh?
No,
Exactly. It's so amazing. And these people could lock you away in a mental facility like they did with my nephew. And they are doing such heinous crimes. They don't
even need to use mental health, which is still one of their main tools. What happened to me once in the Guildford Crown Court, I was being held in the holding cell, and they tried to force legal on me,
right.
a lawyer onto me. And I said no. So what happened was the prosecution, the CPS,
Yeah.
the court clerk, and the judge, and 3 other security guards came into the room that I was waiting in, which was the room with the speech of lawyer prior to going into court.
Yeah.
So what happened was the first time it was an Asian barrister that came down.
Yeah.
I didn't give him my name, and I said, look, this is the situation.
All
I
right.
know what they are doing. You go up and tell them, look, I don't know his name. He said that he doesn't require any legal. And
because you're not obliged to give your name, you know.
I kept silent. They had nothing from me.
Yeah.
They had 0. Okay. And what happened was, I never saw the barrister again. He did his job.
Yeah.
And then what happened about 20 minutes later, the judge, CPS, and everyone came down to that room, and the judge then said to me, what is your name?
All they want is your name. They want to make.
What is your name? and then he said, Mr. Zahid. You're Mr. Zahid, are you not? I go, am I? I go, you are, aren't you? I go, am I? He goes, okay, right. I'm going to give you another chance. Give me a name, and are you going to have a lawyer to represent you? I just stayed silent. He said 3 times I'll give you another chance. Then they went up and had a secret court hearing. So court hearing without me being present. And what that judge, and it's Judge Black from Guildford Club.
Yeah.
He was the one that was doing Ali's case with him over the phone.
Yeah.
And this very judge then decided, oh no, send him to prison. So because they couldn't get legal.
Yeah.
To force legal on me, then they went and had a secret court hearing in the courtroom, found me guilty, sent him to
It's
prison.
amazing. Let me share my screen quickly, Andy. Because there was a case recently about that giving your name. You don't have to give your name. Look, where are we? Here we go. Let me make that bigger. Can you see the screen, guys?
Yep.
There's a recent case. This is February 24th this year. Yeah. What's all this nonsense popping up? Judges overturn conviction for refusal to give name and address in case of suspected COVID regulation breach. So all the people who don't give their name and address, they were all, the conviction was quashed. As a matter of fact, it's a malicious prosecution. You're under no obligation, but you refused to give your name, and they said they convicted you. So that that was treason.
So they made a decision. So when they left that room that I was inherited, right, that's it. We're going to deal with him another way. We don't need him now.
Yeah, they just.
There was an invisible man that they convicted.
This court order scam is, you know, people don't realize it goes deeper and deeper, and they're not backed up by law. They're not. It's just gangsters have hijacked the court system and the police, and to some extent the local authority. We did a video about your thing, Tariq, which hasn't been released yet. It's called what's it called, Tariq? Tell us.
Which video?
Your video. He forgot.
Oh, regarding the masters.
The Pyramid of Terror.
Pyramid of Terror, masters, that's right.
You got the council.
We have all this material.
Yeah.
Because we have the material evidence.
Yeah.
Which we have been asking the court, the police, can you please present this? You're making a claim, please show us the material evidence that you have making it.
That there's actually a lawful claim. It's not just some papers. Yeah. It's not just some papers they make up. Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to so there's some parallel with your case and John Patterson, Guildford Court, mental health, it's all the bloody same. So many people you go, it's the same. They have a blueprint. I mean, we did a crazy video on Toby Lee called the 7-step scam with the police. And that explains the steps. Now, Toby Lee was in the media for so many different things. He went to rescue a baby or something. And they got all this bad press. But the press is not covering the video we did about his illegal eviction and the petition that we sent to all the MPs and so on. The press is not covering that bit, but they're covering another bit, which shows that the press itself is under the control of the dark state, the people who are hijacking and taking over the justice system. It is protecting the press. They're using the press as well. God bless social media and library and YouTube. God bless YouTube. Maybe maybe a little bit less blessing for YouTube. But you know, John Patterson. You know, it's compelling now. They must release him. Just coming back to something on John Patterson's case, I believe, was he arrested by DC Steve Martin, Andy?
Well, who the arresting officers are, oftentimes it's never known, because John's been obviously arrested multiple times before. He's been and done police interviews and all this lot. And when you go to find out the police officer, they don't exist anymore. They've gone. They're not there. So
they're probably master agent.
So I mean, what I will say is this: he was kidnapped on November the 5th, 2019. First of all, he was held by the Ministry of Defence police themselves, the heavily armed Ministry of Defence. They just held him there. Then some other allegedly came from Holborn police station, where John was then taken, where they tried to disappear him with some dirty, scruffy social work, or I don't know what they were. But John asked them to identify themselves, and they didn't, so they pissed off, they ran off. Then he was hot-tailed it from there to Eastbourne Mental Health Ward, where they tried to dump him and get rid of him, disappear him again. And I think either that was Holborn police that took him down there, or whether that was Sussex police that went up and took him to take him down there. Because when he came out of Eastbourne, the mental health ward, because he'd only been in there, they'd kidnapped him again on July. And they held him in there for 9 days and released him with a clean bill of health. So John got out of there, and as he was leaving there, it would have been Sussex police, I dare say, would have arrested him, and they would have then took him in front of Westminster Magistrates Court. So Katie Bourne would have been the one that's involved, because she's the Chief Crime Commissioner, and that was who John was exposing, as well as Matt Taylor, as well as Brian Setchfield, as well as John Hoth. I mean, it's crazy the power that these police have got and how they can use these courts to disappear people, because Matt got gagged. John Hoth got the full evidence, forensic evidence, and he was even told by an ex-firearms officer that said that you've got the information now, you can go and do a citizen's arrest on them.
Yeah,
he's seen evidence. So I mean, and who was the other guy? Because he was also a part of it as well. He knew about it. With Michelle Young, who was the cop?
Anthony Stansfield.
Anthony Stansfield, because Anthony Stansfield was sent all this information. Anthony Stansfield had said to Katie Bourne that she should show this evidence, answer to these statements, which she never did. And because John Hoth was asking him, he got done and put in prison for, again, stalking.
Yeah.
Just like John Patterson is now getting done. That's what he was originally getting done for. So when John Patterson was taken out of Eastbourne, that mental health ward, and brought in front of Westminster Magistrate Court, there was 4 people that was alleged to be pressing charges to him. One was Katie Bourne, the stalking and threats of violence, I believe. Well, the other one was Gilly Jones, which is Katie Bourne's. They're the lawyers for them, the solicitors. And then it was Ricky Dearman, who was the father of the satanic cult that the children told us all about, and DC Steve Martin, which is a Freemason copper that got the children to change the story. But Katie Bourne and Gilly Jones are no longer on these other pieces of paper that John's got that are alleged to be proceedings, but that have never been
changing the goalposts.
Yeah, this is the lawyers that are in with this. So they.
Isn't he the one that was involved in the case of Angela Power Disney?
Angie's done an affidavit for him to explain exactly who these people are, because Karen Irving now has joined in this against him. Yeah, Ricky Damon was the one who went over to Ireland to press charges against Angela Disney Power as well. Yeah, because this is the power that these people have got.
In the video with Baron.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's the rings a bell. That name. Yes.
Yeah. This is the same John Patterson. Yeah. This is.
Took all of her laptop, all of her technology equipment.
Yeah. They've stolen John Patterson's. They've stolen John Patterson's equipment multiple times. They've stolen all of his computer equipment. They kept doing it. Same with Matt Taylor. They stole all his equipment again. They've done it again just recently. They do.
So they took your stuff, Tarek, that was in the car. Have you got it back yet?
I haven't got zero back. Everything's still in the car. What the police did say, because I mentioned to the police, because you were holding I have tools in there, etc.
Your tools of your trade and your legal documents.
My legal documents. And they said we're well aware of what is in the car. Nothing has been touched. Okay, can I have the inventory just to confirm that you are aware what is in the car?
Yeah.
And then I can then double check.
Yeah.
No, I still haven't received any form of paperwork regarding the whole thing.
No, this is a big problem that people need to be very aware of, which is gotta be addressed a lot more. Is when you have belongings that's been taken by anyone, but bailiffs or police, but anybody else, it applies. If you want to bring into the bullshit statutes, it's the Tort and Interference with Goods Act 1977. Some people, it's known in the business as TIGA. They must do a statutory inventory itemized with all your belongings. They're not allowed to take under any circumstances anything of legal nature or your business material. So here you have your tools and all your legal documents, while at the same time, they got alleged false court cases against you. You're not in a position to even use a computer and have access to your files. I mean, that comes under torture, Tariq?
Yeah, torture, terrorism as well, because when they arrested me at my home, they said, is there anything that you would like to take with you? I said, yes, I would like to take all my legal documents, but it's all on an electronic file, just on that tablet. So they took the tablet with me.
Yeah.
This is based on the warrant. So there was 2 warrants. So Metropolitan Police allegedly had not just a normal warrant, it was a cross-border warrant. So I'm in Surrey, yeah. Metropolitan Police can come and arrest you, plain clothes. And the funny thing about this was my neighbour noticed a man at the side of my garden, which is a walkway alleyway, and he was looking over like a criminal. But what he was actually doing, he was eyeing up to see if he could see anyone.
Yeah, he's a spy. The chances are they are Marstons or Equita people or Capita. But the thing is, just for reference, anybody want to know, follow this up regarding the belongings. There was a famous case of recent times with a gentleman where the council took his belongings and they weren't able to give account what they took. And the case is known as AA versus London Borough of Southwark. I'll repeat it, AA versus London Borough of Southwark. And the council had to pay the guy out £5 million. So it's a good case for reference when they take your goods, because even if you got back everything they took, that is still a crime if you have not done the inventory. I spoke to a police officer recently on George Carter's case. I think he's called PC Offered or something. And they'd taken George Carter's stuff. And he said to me, he doesn't know what an inventory is. Can you imagine? So how many other people they're going around taking their stuff? Are they uneducated, or are they knowingly doing criminal activity? Now, so this is the issue with I believe even John Patterson, they have some of his belongings, Andy.
They did, yes. I mean, funny. I mean, when we found out, because when he was first kidnapped and disappeared, because obviously I was waiting there, because when John was delivering that 100-page document, I was to be held on next to my phone on standby, because if the Ministry of Defence phoned me up, we was going to organise a round table meeting to present the evidence that John Winnow has been given out, and that's what it was down there for. So I'm sitting here waiting. So John's not getting back. So we knew straight away that he'd been disappeared. So we're phoning up everywhere. The police said that there's nothing on our records for any John Patterson. There's no interest in him. He's not on an arrest warrant or anything. There's no arrest warrant out for him or anything like that. They're all saying this. So, well, he's been taken. Then we found out that he was at Holborn. We're saying Holborn, so we're phoning up Holborn police station. None of them would say anything. There's nothing to do with it. It was completely silent. Yeah. But yeah,
what it shows,
they took his camera. They took his camera, his phone, his credit cards, his passport, all of his stuff that they got, and they
what it proves is that how easy someone can go missing.
For sure. And John
authorities that protect you.
Well, John was dead. John was deadly serious. He shit himself when he went into that Holborn police station. Yeah, they brought in some dirty trogs. He said, Andy, there was filthy. They got shit all under the nails and everything, like. And they came in. They said, some people here to see you, like. They said, identify yourselves, like. And they all pissed off, legged it. He'd have been disappeared. There was somebody coming in there to get rid of him. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. Very easy.
That happened,
many times, obviously. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I had somebody from allegedly the London Collection and Compliance saying they had a warrant, and he kept trying to meet up with me, but he wanted me to meet him in any magistrate's court. I said to him, I'm happy to meet you in any magistrate's court. I want you to send me any document relating to the meeting that you want to have, and your ID, a copy of your ID, and a copy of the insurance for the building where you want to meet me. So he did that a few times, and then after a while he disappeared because I was doing it all on Resolve. It's all well documented. Now, if you don't know about Resolver, check it out. It's a very useful tool to do correspondence. The police are not on it, but the councils, the courts are on it, and a lot of lawyers, banks. It's a wonderful filing and recording facility. So they would take in people's belongings, even if they give you back everything they took and they don't have an inventory. The failing to do an inventory itself is an offense. And you can claim, of course, if you try to claim or sue them, the court is so corrupt, but if you got to try and follow the process and try and force out the bad people out the system. This is the only way anything's going to happen that I can see. And we are getting a lot of people to resign. And somebody, what was it? Coming back to John Patterson. John Patterson was arrested connected to the same case. Sabine McNeil, Lee Cant, Edward Ellis, who is an ex-lawyer, Neelu Berry. Now, Sabine McNeil is in jail for 9 years. John Patterson is locked up. Neelu just got a suspended sentence, so they backed down from jailing her. And Edward Ellis got a suspended sentence, so they backed down from jailing him, because I believe we've been asking for the prosecution or what was laid. And the Attorney General, who allegedly prosecuted them, can't produce the prosecution, and he himself has been caught making up false high court cases. So tide is turning a little bit, but from what I understand, a lot of these people, if not all of them, were arrested by DC Steve Martin, who is from my Barnet police station, who at the time he made these arrests was on suspension. So all these cases gonna, if the law is followed, gonna have to be revisited. And if the law is not followed, then we are under martial law. We're under gang control. So hopefully some progress will be made, and John Patterson will be the first one to break the shackles. Yeah, so the Steve Martin was on suspension, and two of his colleagues who were supposed to protect my child when he was thrown on the street a few times, Stephan Cadek and Christopher Maitland, who were the child protection officers, they were jailed for child sexual abuse. So Steve Martin and the two, and what concerns me is, are there any others in the police and the local authority who are involved who have not been caught? This is what concerns me, because when they're caught, they've been doing it for a long time. Are there people in there who are going to be caught next year and the year after? I saw a sign on a lamppost in the town center. It says, it's aimed at children. It says, if you feel distress or whatever under the lockdown and blah blah, please call this number for assistance. Are these the people going to be answering the phone and pretending to be helping these youngsters, and they be dragging them into unthinkable trafficking scenarios? This is the problem we have. It's got to be cleaned out. You know, do something or resign. Your MP, your public officials, your the chief executive of my council, Andrew Travers, was sacked for vote rigging. We're in a vote thing now, and instead of going to jail, he got a job in Lambeth. And in Lambeth, it came in the news, there was a whole suite under the council building where children are being abused by public officials. It's in the papers. Maybe we can pull it up on the screen now. But this is, the chief executive of Enfield Council, my neighboring, was jailed for 7 years for fraud. I'm sure the fraud is not the only bad thing he was doing, but these public officials, either you do the job properly or you go somewhere, go on and study some humanity and cleanse your soul. You were going to say something, Andrew?
Yeah, I was just going to highlight two other things. I mean, because don't forget, Sabine McNeil and Neelu, they was done for a contempt of a court, which was never a court in the first place.
Aye, this is very important point.
Yeah, and number two was the two officers that that was associated with DC Steve Martin, that was done for child abuse.
Yeah.
DC Steve Martin is the officer that was responsible for making those two Hampstead children change their story. So this is what, now when you see that these are all in together, there was never. I mean, just look at Jimmy Savile's case for 60 years. I mean, how many people actually reported this? How many people were sectioned? How many people were disappeared when they went in with valid evidence over these people? And these police are all in here to silence everybody to going in there. That's why I've always said it's not about them. They're never going to do it because they're all controlled. It's the people. The people need to get a grips of actually what's really going on. Everything that we can say, we can verify for a fact. Anything these police are saying, you better get them to verify it as a fact, because they are the liars, just the same as the government. They're all liars, just the same as all the media. They're all liars, and they're all in it together. That pyramid of terror, that pyramid, that goes far, far greater, because there's a pyramid over the top of those, and the ones at the top control all the media, controlling all the government.
Yeah, that's what we call the dark state. The dark state is the people we don't see, who are. But coming back to Steve Martin, very important, very, very important. He was suspended, not for something he did, and this is very important. He was suspended for something he didn't do. This is amazing. He failed to arrest a father in a child case where he was involved. The father was a bad guy, apparently. And the reason for his suspension was he failed to arrest the father because the evidence, everything was clear. He was corrupted. He was trying to do some dirty with the children, and failing to act, failing to do your job is a criminal offense. This is, you're taking public money, you're telling people you're a law enforcer, and you're not enforcing, you're not doing, and you have the information, you have the evidence. You must go to jail. You know, you must go to jail, like Stephan Cadek and Christopher Maitland, and all the ones who we haven't discovered. They must resign. They are resigning. Christopher Williams resigned voluntarily, and God knows how many others. But there are some of them, Benjamin Kovler, after abusing my child, who were seen in the park at the fun fair knocking around children. These people shouldn't be allowed anywhere near children. None of them, you know. As a matter of fact, their own children, I wonder if they should even be allowed near their own children, because they show the capacity to be child abusers.
How deep does this pedophilia go, really?
Well, you know, they're powerful and they're rich. And oh, something Neelu told me, she spoke to Sabine in jail. Yeah, she is in jail for contempt of court on a case which is not a case, it's a false. But she said, a lot of the women in the prison, she's in a women's prison, if not the majority, have had their children taken. So then the question is, are we having a situation in this country and maybe other countries where the mothers, and all you ladies who are into this women's movement and all that, listen carefully. Are we in a situation where the mothers are facing false prosecution with counterfeit court documents to facilitate the stealing of their children? That's a very crazy possibility. And if I was a gambling man and had to put money on it, I know where my money will go. And if someone want to put up a couple £1 million and let me investigate it for you, or maybe I can do it for very cheap, I will do it voluntarily. I just need my cost covered.
We've already done it.
I've already done it.
We've already done it. Verified 100% fact. Cannot be rebutted. 100%.
Would like to take up fostering. So with these parents going to prison and the children stealing, fostering has now become a business. I know friends of mine who foster.
Yeah.
So every single one of those children are stolen children.
But fostering is one thing.
Hundreds and hundreds of pounds per child per week.
Fostering is one thing.
So, yes, it makes sense. It's a business.
Fostering, Tariq,
child.
Fostering is one thing. I was a foster carer at one point, but what worries me is, are some of these children being taken to feed the child trafficking industry that these powerful people have time and again been proven? You just have to Google it. MPs, police, whatever, are involved. You know, Jimmy Savile is probably the most famous case. We got Prince Edward. Is this the way they are doing? Falsely using false court proceeding, jail the mothers, take the kids. When I was jailed, they kept asking me about my child. I was so innocent at the time, but I keep saying, what's my child got to do with this? I keep asking you for the court order. Give me the sealed court order. Eventually, after like a year and a half, I got a letter from them. We don't have a court order. So why you interrogate? Why you asking me about my baby? It never crossed my bloody mind. And when you link it up, my baby was thrown on the street 3 times whilst on recovery from a heart procedure. And the 2 officers in charge of child protection never protected him. And they were jailed for child sexual offenses. And my tenant's baby, who was also 3 years old, thrown on the street, all her toys and everything taken by Kevin McNally, the illegal bailiff, who is not registered, he's not a bailiff, works for the BBC and the Sheriffs Are Coming program. The grandmother made a fight with the police to get her stuff back, and the police ordered the bailiff to give the baby back her stuff. But the police never arrested the bailiff for the illegal eviction, and that the bailiff is acting without being a bailiff. and that they still allow the baby 4 days before Christmas to be thrown on the street. So these are the child protection officers we have. Can't we clear the system out? I mean, come on. How many are being abused today that we don't see? How many? So, you know,
just
very
to
interesting.
Just to add on that is, I mean, for the reasons why we do this, when this truth comes out, this is far, far bigger than we're ever talking about now. It is much, much, much worse than you could ever dream of. Yeah, it's much, much worse. But when this truth, and this truth will come out, I can assure you 100%. When this truth comes out, yeah, all the people out there, yeah, right now that are not believing it, which is understandable because no one wants to believe it. But let's put it this way. What I will say is when the truth does come out, there's going to be a question asked. What did you do to help stop
Exactly.
it? And I can hold my head up because I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, what I'm saying is, you know, you've been told ignorance is your only excuse now. It's not that you should be listening to anything we're saying. You can go and do your own research. You'll see it's all out there, completely 100%. Just as a point you was talking about, because Neelu pointed out about the 1967 Act, which basically states that when a policeman has been informed of a crime, if he fails to stop it, yeah, he becomes complicit in it. And I'll just do the American version of it, which is this. This is the Title 42, US Code 1986, Action for Neglect to Prevent. Every person who, having knowledge that any of the wrongs conspired to be done and mentioned in section 1985 of this title are about to be committed and have power to prevent or aid in preventing the commission of the same, neglects or refuses to do so, if such wrongful acts be committed, shall be liable to the party injured, or his legal representatives for all the damages caused by such wrongful act, which such person by reasonable diligence could have prevented. Are you listening to that, policeman? Yeah, who I've been telling and we've been putting out about John Patterson's kidnap by the use of a counterfeit court. Are you listening, Westminster Magistrates Court? Are you listening, Freedom of Information? We gave you this information. Are you listening, Chelmsford Crown? Are you listening, Wood Green? Are you listening, Portsmouth Crown Court? Are you listening, Guildford Crown Court? Are you listening, John Patterson's lawyers? Jolie, Noel McGuinness, Alan Hobden, yeah, and his new lawyer now. Are you listening to this? You are all complicit. Are you listening? The CQC, the head of the CQC, Ian Trenhold, who refused to say that he'd seen my evidence that I presented him. I sent in freedom of information to the CQC. The maximum that they would give me was that the email was in his inbox to give that man plausible deniability. Why? Because Ian Trenhold was an ex-policeman. He knows full well what can be done. And he states that if you don't, and every single one, and bear in mind, John Patterson's first initial, when he went in before the police started attacking him, he went into Seaford Police Station and read them out and presented him the forensic facts of Gordon Bowden's on the research that he'd done on 788 790 Finchley Road. And he presented that evidence and told them that they must do something about it. And he told the lady behind the counter that failing to do so means you're now complicit in these crimes. And he said that when you hand this up further, it'll get shelved. And guess what? That was when they first attacked him. They went down and beat his missus up. Then they ragged him in for resisting arrest or whatever it was. And then they put him in Lewisham prison under a fake warrant. There was no court case. There's no record.
No due process. No due process.
There's nothing. So this is what I'm trying to. People.
Let me share my screen while you make that point. I got something to support your thing. Where is it? This one. Failing. No, I got the wrong one. Let me go back. Failing to act. Yeah. There we go. Failing to act. Blah blah blah. Criminal offense. We've seen DC Steve Martin suspended on it. I'm sure there's a lot of other authorities on it, but failing to do your job is a crime. But here's another one for the court making up. Any officer of the court, which is anybody working in the court system, solicitors, court staff, court managers, here is the court's own anti-fraud policy. Yeah. I will just go to the highlights. It's called the Internal Audit and Assurance Anti-Fraud and Corruption Policy. Yeah. So I'll just highlight a couple of things. All managers are responsible for prevention and detection of fraud. Yeah. Ensure all allegations of fraud or theft are investigated. So these people are stealing the court fee. They're not paying no court fee in the civil court. That's theft. Yeah. Where appropriate, police must be informed. Where do you go when the police is doing the crime? Yeah. Action must be taken where fraud is proven. Where assets have been stolen, management must make every effort to recover them. That's your car, Tarek. That's my house. That's my belongings. That's my business records. Yeah.
Just to interject something here, because it's important. Another thought, just to get this into your head. Ensure that all allegations of fraud or theft are investigated. Now then, because this white man speak four tongues nonsense, the deception of words. Investigate. IN means no, not investigated. No investigation.
Right. Okay.
Because IN, right? Yeah. Why does IN investigated mean? Why does IN mean no? Does incompetent? What does incompetent mean? Yeah, it means you're not competent. So not investigated. So they're saying it in their own words, in their own system. Yeah. So I'm just to hold them. But remember,
well,
vested interest. There's vested and invested. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, but let's use our words. Something must happen. Yeah, something must be done. They have different phone numbers here, and I think we should put this on our we have a little channel on library called legal documents in the public interest. We'll be putting up some of the stuff there for people to avail themselves. But here we go. Who
do you go to? You know,
I know they've hijacked the whole. This is the public. Everything comes back to the public, and that's what it is. But all we have to do is follow the process, and by knocking it, people are gonna do in some numbers till they get scared and start to resign, and hopefully some good people will come along and replace them, which I think is kind of happening in some level, but it needs a whole bigger scale. We see in the mail, all the papers published Cressida Dick falsifying a warrant, which never happened before. I've never seen it anywhere. So it is happening slowly, but we got to turn the heat up. We can't have people suffering while all this delay is taking place.
I mean, on the grounds that this so-called alleged government, which isn't a government anyway, because these are all corporations, and people need to fully grasp the fact of what this is. I mean, because these are corporations. They have no government power because they've never been given consent, and the people have never given that consent. And if they have, who would be consenting to this when you can see exactly what it is? So there isn't. It's all been by deception, and they've got the control of the minds, which is government. So people have let themselves be weak and allowed these people to tell them what to do. These are our servants. The servants are not the masters, but the servants have become the masters over the masters, because the masters got lazy. We've all been lazy. We've all been indoctrinated with nonsense in the schools.
Yeah. Well, there've been people putting a lot of energy, but we need to get the numbers up. They've been great people, but we need the average man on the street to be active. So here we go. The policy applies. This is fraud on the court issue. Yeah. The anti-fraud policy applies to all, not just the court staff. It applies to all employees and those contractors working for the ministry. For example, agency staff, external agency, builders, security, catering staff, suppliers, and those providing service under a contract in their own premises. So basically, anyone having anything to do with the court, the anti-fraud policy applies to them. They can notice, it can trigger. And okay, the policy is there. What we need is to enforce it, because like we did with you, Tarek, the pyramid of terror, the police, the local authority, and the court staff all joined together as a gang. We got nowhere to go. We got to break it. We got to continue to escalate the resignations. We've got a lot of people resigning. And just to try and cap it off, I think I had enough of this talking, some work to do. But
it's going to be great when the people become aware. I mean, this is all we're doing. We're raising awareness.
Yes.
And this is the point. The awareness needs to be at the people. The people need to be aware of what's actually going down, because the only reason this is happening is because people aren't aware of it. Because if there was, they would never take this. They just can't believe it's happening. But you won't believe it is happening because the Tavistock Institute say never underestimate the power of a group, and they're all working in it together. And because people are not aware, they have no confidence to say this is wrong. They know intuitively, they know there's something wrong. They know it's wrong, but because they're all in on it, they just go along with it. And we must stop going along with it. And that's what I'm basically saying to the people out there, all the people, stop it, guys, stop going along with this. Just stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself. Look at what's really going on. Because when you start to see what's really going on, it'll give you the confidence, and it'll give you that inner strength, that anger, that fire will start burning within inside you, that you're not going to take this anymore. Because the only reason these people can get away with this is because we're allowing them. And that's why we can do it. We can't go in there because, like Anthony says, they've got the guns and clubs, they've got the force. But the true force is the truth, and that's within inside us all, and we need to shine it. And that's all we can do.
Well said, Andy. Can I end on a very good note, a very positive note, and give some value information, practical, that can be done straight away. Yesterday, we had the news, George Carter, we're calling him London George, there's a lot of case and videos he has. He got a letter from the CPS on one of his cases that they are no longer pursuing the case. Now, it's a wonderful outcome. It was achieved without going to court, by demanding the prosecution. Where is it? Where is the case management record? Now, what makes this intriguing is this is the number 8 octo case in the last few months where George has had dropped because they cannot prove the prosecution. 8 cases on one man. Now, this guy went to jail and lost his career like me on a false allegation way back in time, and the court manager keep promising to give the information. This is like nearly 6 months, and they can't produce it. So I don't know what's going to happen with that particular case, because he's already been to jail and lost his career. But the fact that 8 has been proven and dropped and admitted in black and white, I'm sure George is going to be nicely compensated, and his case will serve as an example. And I hope the bad guys get some kind of trial for their wrongs, So, Tariq.
It's all about exposure. We have to expose. We have the material evidence now of all the crimes.
Yeah.
We just need to expose it in the right way. The government and everyone, they have the media on their side. If they want to expose anything, they can do that. We have all these platforms.
We have the platform. We have the blockchain. We got a lot of things. We're gonna have to become marketing experts to increase the reach, because we have shadow banning from Google and harassment from Google. So we got to become marketing expert to get it out there. But I tell you what, we've already done is probably enough. Who knows? But we just have to keep going. So you can download this document if you have a civil case. If you type in bit.ly /caseman, CASEMAN 123, you will get a document to demand your court record. You can give it to whoever is helping you. Good, send it direct to the court, and you will find they cannot show you any proof that there's a lawful and valid claim against you in the vast majority of cases. This absolute scandal. I think it's going to be like PPI. It's going to be a quiet revolution, and a lot of people are going to be hiding, who were previously known. I tell you, in my church, the bloody church, the lady, the couple in the church who are responsible for the treasury just got jailed for stealing 160 grand from the church coffers. So all these people in positions, we have to be the police. We have to be all these people are working for us. You can't just be passive about it and say it's somebody else's job, you know. So shall we call it an end and crack on? And free John Patterson. Free John Patterson. That's what we're going to call this video. I'm going to put it as free John Patterson. And hopefully
the world will witness something go down on the 26th of April at Guildford Crown Court. If they don't apply the draft order which they've been delivered to, it's been told to be put onto record and been told to be presented in front of the judge, the clerk, and whoever else is involved in that court case, or that alleged court case. All of them need to see that draft order, and that draft order set out that he was to be released. He was to restored back to his position, restored his property, and set in that anti-fraud squad, that anti-fraud thing that you just pointed out.
Anti-fraud policy, yeah.
Yeah, and also set a cost hearing up for the damages that they've caused.
Damages and compensation, hopefully. Magic, thank you guys.
Okay.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You too now.
Good weekend. Bye-bye.